For today's webinar, we are going to be going over best practices for item maintenance in SMS. We are going to be doing a slightly different format for this webinar. While we realize that a lot of our customers are still utilizing SMS and SMS Pro to do their item maintenance, we also recognize that a lot of our customers are starting to utilize eSuite as well on top of that. So I'm going to be going over the best practices and showing how it works with both SMS Pro and an eSuite. If you're unfamiliar with eSuite, that is the new application that is coming out with Lock SMS software. It layers over top SMS and SMS Pro. So it's the new format that it's moving towards with SMS Pro, but both applications are currently available. So what I'm going to be focusing on for this webinar is, like I said, item maintenance best practices, and it's going to be ways to help enhance your item maintenance, make it more efficient, as well as utilizing some tools in SMS to make sure that the database integrity is still good after making all these maintenance changes. So I'm going to start with going over like codes and mix and match codes, usage of alternate codes, and mass product updates. And then the last thing will be the item validity check, which is the way to check the database integrity. So to start with, I'm going to start in SMS Pro, and I'm going to start with like codes. So what like codes are for is a way to link together items that are similar, that are alike. So right here, I have, for an example, my Kinder Joy. I have 3 different barcodes, all very similar to each other. And what I would like to do is link these together. So that way, if I'm making a change on the record, it will see that there's other like items and prompt me to see if I would like to make the change. This is specific to the price table, and it's right down here. This right here is the like code, and this would be where you're going to input it in the records that are alike. In order to create new like codes, they're underneath the auxiliary drop-down menu. If you go under auxiliary, it's right here, like codes. So you can come over, you can bring it over here, and you can create new like codes in a way that makes sense to you. Some people prefer to use one barcode, like I have up here for like the Ruffles and the Pepsis. It's just one barcode, and you can put that barcode in all the item. Some people prefer words. And that way, like for the Kinder Joy, I made Kinder. That way, that's what you need to put in there. It is alphanumeric, so you can decide which way works best for you. And then all you need to do to create a new one, you just hit plus, put in what you would like to have over here. So we can just say test 1, 2, 3. So you can see it's alphanumeric, and then just a descriptor. That way you know what you're putting it in. Or you actually don't need a descriptor, but it's always nice to have one. Best practice is to put one in here. And then just go put it in the items you would like to link together. So right here, you can see I put that in these 3 items. And now whenever I make a change anywhere in the price record, so if I said, oh, I need to raise the price here to $1.99, I change it to $1.99, I save it, and it's going to prompt me saying, hey, I see you have a like code. Do you want to make this change in all of the items? So you can always hit yes, which means yes, it will change all of them. No, it won't change all of them. You're just changing this specific code. Always means that you will stop getting this prompt for this session. So as soon as you log out of SMS and log back in, it will start coming back up again. It's not always and forever, just for this session. Same thing with never. You don't want to get this prompt anymore right now. You're doing item maintenance and you don't need that popping up on you every couple seconds. So you can say never. CM browser will just pull the items that have this like code into the browser up there. And then this is just how defaultly it will update the items. Change means it will just do the change that you made. So I only changed it to $1.99. That's the only change that will make that this will make. If you're adding a new price level, you need to create and change. So you would create a new price record and change it. And then full record means it will take this entire price table and take anything that's on here and apply that to all the items with the like code. So default, most people use this for change. So you can just do change, hit yes. And now you go through and you can see all my items are now $1.99. So that's one way that can help you make price maintenance more efficient. This gets confused a lot with mix and match codes. So down here, I have some examples for mix and match code. Mix and match codes are a way to tie together like items for a bundle deal or a price that you're trying to do, like a 2 for $3, a 3 for $5, some sort of sale. So this is specific, unlike the like code, which will affect the entire price record, this will only impact the column that it's a part of. So right here, I have my Kit Kats. I have two different barcodes for Kit Kats, and I want to make a sale that's two for $1.50. So regularly, this is on sale for $1.29. When you purchase two, you get them for $1.50. So I'm going to go down here. I only want this to run until the 30th. And then for my package price, when you get two, you're getting them for that $1.50 price. If I don't have a mix and match code, they would have to purchase two of this exact barcode. So if I want to have them be able to purchase like items, I'm going to create a mix and match code. So that way the system knows you can mix and match to meet that criteria for that deal. Again, if you want to create a new mix and match code, it's actually underneath the auxiliary menu as well. Right here, it's mix and match. This is numeric only. So you would just want to go and create a new number. So you can hit plus, add a new one. So you can just do 4, and then just this be my test sale, whatever descriptor works best for you. And then you put that number right here. It's mix, and then it kind of has a line method. So the first section is the mix and match method. So this would be where you can put that number in. So now I know when I'm putting the sale on that I can mix and match different barcodes to meet the criteria for the package price. So right here under my other Kit Kat, this is also the same exact sale column where I have that mix and match method right there, and it can mix and match. So this is very useful if you're doing a large number of different items. Maybe you have a sale on Gatorade, and there's a lot of different flavors with Gatorade, a lot of different colors. You don't want the customer to have to purchase 2 red Gatorades or 2 blue Gatorades to get that package price. You'd like them to be able to do 1 blue and 1 red, and they get that package deal. This would be how you can accomplish that. Unlike the like code, if I make a change, it's not going to prompt. That is just something that's specific to the column for the sales. So I'm going to switch over to eSuite and show you how this works in eSuite. So if you're unfamiliar with eSuite, that's what I have pulled up right here. It's a web-based application, so it runs right in your browser. And this would be how I would come in to do the item maintenance in eSuite. So first, I'll show you how to create one of the codes. So the mix and match code or the like codes. Over here on the drop-down menu, you can go under item auxiliaries. Think of that auxiliary drop-down I just showed you. And right here, you have the like codes and you have the mix and match codes. So if I want to create a new like code, I can come in here, easily click on here. And up here, there's a plus button, so I can add a new one. I can look at the existing one. You do not have to pad them out with zeros. This is just how it views it here with the item auxiliary, the like code. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to type all the zeros out. It's just how it views it. It pads it with zeros. But so if you come up here, you can add a new one. You can also, there's not a lot to edit. You can come down here. You can edit any existing one. There's just the code and the descriptor, but you can see here it takes away those leading zeros. It's just this specific view that has it. And then the other one, if I go back, the mix and match codes, the same idea. You just have that number, that descriptor. It's the same. It all pulls from the same database, so it all stays the same. Just can add one up here. You have the plus button. It will prompt. You can edit any of the existing here. If you do need to delete one, you do come down here, you edit it, and this little minus button would delete one that you may not be using this mix and match code or anything like that. So back to how to put this into the items. So I pulled up the item list. I have the same item list that I was looking at before. I kind of just put together a little subset of items to show. So I have my Kinder Joy items and my Kit Kat items. So with eSuite, the way that you can come in here and look at this is I can come down on my drop-down menu and I want to look at the columns. So these are all tied to the price record. So they're going to be underneath the price drop-down. And right here, oops, sorry, move my mouse, is the like code. So I can add the like code to my view. And now I have my like codes right here as a view. Again, you don't have to worry about the leading zeros. It just is how it showcases here. If you're wanting to view the mix and match codes and edit your mix and match codes, it's also here underneath the price. Now, like I said, the mix and match codes are specific to what column you're under. So if I want to look at my mix and match codes because I'm putting on a sale, I would need to check mark my sale to get my sale information. And then right here's the mix and match. So I'm going to check mark my sale. So I have my sale prices visible now, and I want to check mark my mix and match. So now when I scroll over, here's those 2 Kit Kat items, and then here's the mix and match fields that I had done in SMS Pro with the 3. If you need to edit any of these, right here, anything with a little divot in eSuite is an editable field, so I can edit my mix and match codes. I can double click on here and I can change this or delete this if I need to. The light codes are a little bit different. If we scroll back over a little bit, you can edit all of these columns as well. If you're familiar with eSuite, you can move them over. But just for right now, I'll just scroll back and forth. But the light codes are not an editable field in the grid layout. The reason being that they're very specific. We want to make sure that when you're putting a light code in, it matches exactly the other light codes. So if you go down under your edit window, you can pull up your master table. You can pull up your price master in eSuite. And this should look pretty similar to what we were just looking at with the SMS Pro, with the tables in SMS Pro. And if we go under the general tab, that's now where the light code lives. So if I click on my little drop-down menu, I can search and see the light code. So this way, you make sure that it's put in exactly the right way, that it will match all the other items. So there's no misspelling, anything like that. So they put that in here just to make sure, because it's very specific with that, especially with the alphanumeric, that you just need to come in here and edit the table. If you're wanting to go up and down, you can pin this and you can go up and down. I always say that with eSuite, I like to have two of my screens so I can really get across, but you can go up and down. And oh, I have a light code. So this will be how it prompts for a light code. I was just going to show that, but you can go up and down in here and it will be right over here on the side. Like I said, this is really where you want to have two screens. But if you do make a change, it behaves the same way as we were just doing with SMS Pro. So if I'm going to change the price, I'm just going to change it to $1.97, really make it different than what we did before. And I save it, it's going to give me that same type of prompt where I can say apply changes using light code. They did slim it down. It's yes or no in eSuite. So it's just a yes or a no, or you can show them in the grid. So they don't have the options with always or never, and it's always assumed that it is a change in eSuite. They simplified it because that's what they're noticing that most people are using is the change. So they really simplified it. So it's just an easy yes or no answer, and it will go ahead and update all the prices for you. Really quick, just as a best practice before I switch back over and go over the next thing. With eSuite, if you notice when I was in Pro, I could pull up the auxiliary tables and have them right there with the light code and with the mix and match code. I do have them up here. You can switch between the desktops, but if you want to have them on the same screen, you can add them on the same screen. Just going to kind of scooch that over. There's a little button down here. It looks like a box with a arrow pointing to the right. You can click on this. This will add a table to your current desktop. So I can click on here. So I want to have my mix and match codes up here because I'm going to be working on those. You can click on that button and then go underneath our item auxiliaries and click on your mix and match. And it will add that right into my current desktop. So I don't have to switch back and forth, just like with Pro. I can just have it right here so I can refer back to it. You can do this with the light codes, whatever works best for you. But just so you can see that that's a nice, easy way you can add it in there, just like you can with Pro. So I'm going to switch back to Pro. And the next things I wanted to go over was alternate codes and mass product updates. So alternate codes are used to help you track multiple UPCs for similar or the same exact item. We often see this used in produce items. So I have up here, I have my strawberries as an example with produce. So what will happen is that you will have your different warehouses will be sending you items, and they are very similar items like this, where they're the exact same thing. That's always strawberries. They just have a bunch of different barcodes because they get them from different suppliers. The different suppliers have different barcodes on them. So it can make tracking these items in the system a bit of a headache. You can have different item records for all the different items with all the different barcodes that are coming in. But then you have to make sure you're changing the price, you're updating the cost, you're updating any flags, maybe they became taxable. Now you can join them together with light codes, you can do mass product updates, which I'm going to go over next with those items, or if you don't want to maintain all those records, you can use alternate codes. So this is going to actually be underneath the item drop-down menu if you want to look at the alternate codes. I'll just bring it over here. So you can see with the alternate codes, these are all the different barcodes that I could potentially get this item for. I don't create an item record. You don't have to maintain an entirely different item record. In fact, you should not have these as an entirely different item record. They should just exist as an alternate code, and you can keep listing more and more barcodes. Like I said, we see this a lot primarily with produce items. Other items can come in with it, but it does happen a lot with produce items. You'll get a lot of different barcodes. So as soon as you get a different barcode, instead of having to go create a new item, then maintain that item record, you can come in here and you just hit plus and you just type in the new barcode. And the next time that this item is scanned at the register, it'll scan and it will say, oh, it's an alternate code and it will tie to this record, pull the price from this record. And if you're tracking inventory, adjust the inventory on this record. So it's all kept under one easy record. So that's one way you can make it easier to track the items. Like I said, you could also maintain a different item record. You can utilize some of the tools that I'm showing, like light codes to group together the pricing. You can also use what we call the mass product update. And this will give you a nice, easy way to mass update all items, and it's not just tied to your price record. So this is going to be this little icon that has a bunch of different little lines. Some people call it, it looks like a mass apply because the apply button is one arrow. This looks like a bunch of them. Some people said it looks like an ear icon, whatever suits you best. And this is going to be on all of your different tables. So you can see it's on my POS table, it's on my main item table, it's on my price table. So I can use this mass apply on any of these records. For example, maybe I need to go in and I need to flag all of these items are needing to be changed to a new brand. Or maybe I need to change them all to be food stampable or follow sub-department or taxable. I need to flag them all, and I don't want to go through and individually do that. With SMS Pro, you need to pull them all up into your browser. So right here, I set up a certain family code. I set up family code 3 for all my items that I'm showing, but maybe you have a certain sub-department that you need to change everything under, category, alternate code, anything like that, you can pull all those items up in the browser. If you're unaware, this can be a multi-sort, so you can, I'm sorry, multi-criteria, not a multi-sort. You can add more criteria and it will stack. So whatever way you need to pull the items up into the browser, so you can say, hey, just the items in this specific sub-department and in this family code and in this category, or this is an and, or you can change this. You can pull them all up into the browser until you have the list that you need to mass update. Once you have that list in here, so I'm just going to go back to my family code of 3. It's still pulled up. Once you have this item in the items in here, then you just need to make the change you need to make. So I would just say maybe I need to check all of them to follow sub-department. I'm just going to switch to that. I make my change and then I say apply templates to all item. I click on that little icon. You literally have to type in the word yes. It's going to tell you how many items it's going to affect. So right now I have 6 items in my browser. That's how many it's going to update. You could have 6 items, you could have 100 items, you could have 1,000 items in here. And then similar to the light code, you can see I can apply only the changes. So it'll only apply the change that I made. You can apply the complete record, which will take this entire POS table and put it on all 6 of the items. So the POS description will change, the sub-department will change, all of it will change. And you can also apply only changes, but create record if needed. So if you're creating multiple POS tables at a host environment, or more often used in like a cost table, you need to add a new vendor to all of the items. You could apply only changes, but create the new record if you need to create the new record. Mostly used for apply only changes. So I have to type in the word yes. It makes you stop and make sure, yep, I do want to make this change. And then you apply only changes and it will go through and apply them all. Now, one gotcha with this is that the more items in here, the longer it takes. So if you do have 1,000 items, mine was very quick. I only had 6 items, but if you have 1,000 items in here, you can definitely have this take like a minute or two. You'll see SMS kind of freeze for a minute or two while it's going through and applying all those changes for you. So switching back over to eSuite, I'm going to show you how these work in eSuite with the alternate code and the mass apply. So let me get my price list back up here. So first, I'll show you how the alternate codes work. So the way the alternate codes work in eSuite is same exact way that it works in SMS and SMS Pro. It does need to be done in a table format in eSuite because you can have multiple alternate codes. As you saw, I had 5 or 6 listed for my strawberry, so I would have to have 5 or 6 lines listed here if I needed to do that. So if you go down under the edit button, you're going to select the item you want to look at, and then go under your special items. There is the alternate codes. So if I click on here, my alternate code table will pop up. Again, you can pin this so you can go up and down in here. So if I wanted to go to the next item, I don't have any alternate codes. But if I come up here, then my alternate codes are all listed right here. I can easily add a new one if I need to, same as before. I can also delete any. And there is a little bit more options available with the alternate codes in eSuite that are not available in Pro. For example, if you didn't down here, I can do a force package price number if I want to do a force package price on just this alternate code. I can also do a force price level. So if you're doing multiple price levels, and if you sell this specific alternate code, you want to get a specific level, you can do that. And you can also update your own URL in here. Primarily used for if you're doing eWick or SmartWick and you have to populate the URL. Usually you're just going to want to follow the main item table, but the option is here if you just want to flag items a little bit differently. So that's how you can come in and add additional alternate codes, delete, and a little bit more flexibility with the alternate code. For the global change, this does work a little bit differently than it does in Pro. This is all tied to this context tool right here. So there is a little, there's an option down here. So I'm just going to minimize this one to get a little bit better view. So right here, it's called the global change. And you can see right here, because I'm in my price list, it's only giving me price. Depending on what you're in or what you're making changes to, this will change. So what it will do is the last change that you make. So if I come in and I want to update my regular price, so taking strawberries, for example, my price right now is 99 cents. If I want to come in here and I want to change this to $2 and apply it, it's going to see that as the last change made. So what I can do is, instead of worrying about in SMS Pro where I have to pull everything up in the browser, I can check mark what items I want to get that change with. And then I can use this little magnet over here to apply the global changes. So this will come in here. It will see what the last change made was. So it was 99 cents. And after it was $2, so that's what's going to be changed. And then I can see what price level, since I'm in the price table, I would like to apply this to, and then I apply it to the items right down here. So it's a little more flexible with what you can, with the items you can choose. You don't have to worry about pulling all the items up in the browser. You can just pull up a list of items and check mark which ones you want to apply it to. And if you make the change, it will immediately grab that change. So if you do make the change, you save it. With SMS Pro, you have to make sure you hit the global apply before you save it, because then it will not be set anymore. It'll not be sitting there anymore to be applied to all the items. You just have to go to the next item and make the change. So you don't want to save it before you globally apply it. You want to globally apply it. With this, it's going to actually look for the last thing that you changed and grab that change. The little magnet there will pull it in. So make sure that the last thing that you changed is what you want to globally apply, and you'll be good to go. So the last thing that I wanted to go over was the tool that I had brought up in the beginning, which was the tool to help you maintain the integrity of your database. So I'm going to switch back to Pro. I'm trying to do a couple at a time in each one, so that way I'm not switching back and forth too much. But coming up here, so this is actually going to be under our tools, and it's called the item validity checks. And this is just some tools that are available in SMS, and it's available in eSuite, that just help you make sure that all of your items and all of your information in your database has the information that you want to have in there. Some of this is essential, and some of this is just more, maybe you should check this kind of thing. So I'm going to skip over the validity check summary. I'll go back to that at the end. But like the first one, we went over alternate codes. I said the alternate code shouldn't exist as its own item. If an alternate code does exist as its own item, it's going to go to the item and not as the alternate code. So if you're worried that you created an alternate code that already exists in the database, you can click on show conflict between UPC and alternate, and it will show hey, this item exists as both a regular UPC code and it's an alternate code for another item. So you should go fix that. It should be one or the other. Not found in cost table. This is a more informational one. If you have an item that doesn't have a cost table, maybe you're not maintaining cost, so it's not a big deal. You can click on here, and the nice thing is it pulls up all the items that meet this criteria in the browser. So if you do want to go through and fix that, that is something you want to maintain, then you can come over here and fix that. Orphan and cost tables means that somebody deleted an item and there's just an orphan cost table. You might want to just delete it to clean up your database. Authorized flag validation. You have a vendor that's flagged as the authorized vendor. So if you have more than one vendor tied to an item, you should have one of the vendors flagged as the authorized vendor. That's what your database will take. Like if you are, I didn't mean to reset my data. That's what the database is going to take when it's doing calculations on the cost of goods and anything like that. So you're going to want to make sure that the vendor is flagged as authorized. One of them is flagged as authorized. Bad or missing department. Do you have a sub-department assigned to a department that doesn't exist? Bad link in the kit table or kit and split items with inventory. These are two specialty tables that should never have a inventory assigned to them. So you should clear that up. Or if you have a kit that you're selling a group of items together and you have an item listed in there that doesn't actually exist, that would be a problem. So it's just a way to keep that clean. If you did a bunch of price changes and you want to make sure that you printed a label, this will show you any labels that haven't been printed since, any items that haven't had a label printed since the price was changed. This is a great tool, but if you import in a lot of changes, it will be a pretty lengthy list. Just so if you keep up with it though, as you're doing your price changes, every time the price changes, you print a label. This way you can go in there and make sure that all of the items have a label, an up-to-date price on the shelf. Not found in main item table, not found in POS or price table. This means it's missing one of these three tables. It's missing the main item table, the POS table, or the price table. Those are essential tables. You should make sure that they have those. It won't sell, the item won't sell without them. Without a price or zero price, if you have an item without a price or zero price, this will pull it up so that way you can fix it. Make sure you're not selling an item for $0. Scale item with no ingredients or scale item with no Nutrifacts. If you have integrated scales and you want to make sure that all your items have ingredients, you can click on these and fix those. Again, like I said, these aren't essential. Some of these are not essential. This is just more informative that, hey, you might want to check these. Bad or missing subdepartment, you have an item tied to a subdepartment either that doesn't exist or no subdepartment at all. That is a problem. It won't sell without those. You can click on these. It will pull all of them up. This is my lab, so you can see I have quite a few of them that are tied to bad subdepartments, so I would want to go fix that. That way they would bring up at the register. Invalid tear link, if you're tracking tear, you have a bad tear link, that would be there. Bad or missing vendor, you have an item tied to a cost table it has a vendor that doesn't exist in the vendor table, and then many items with the same ordering code. Again, more informative that you may have a lot of items with the same exact vendor code. That could be by design. So it's just information there if you need to. The validity check summary, it just can summarize all of these. And you can dictate which ones you would like to see in this list. So filter right here, so you can come through and you can kind of check mark all the ones that we went through. Bad or missing OBJ, POS price table, items without price or zero price, whatever ones that you would like to see in this list, you can come in here and you can say which ones make most sense to you and have them show up just kind of in a list format. And then you could then click on here and it will pull them up in the browser so you can fix them. This does exist in eSuite. So I'm going to switch back to eSuite. So if we go back to, if I go into my item master, and this is where I can do all of my item views. Let me just close this really quick, sorry. Right here is the validity check. So same idea, this goes through all the same things that we just went through. They did split this up a little bit more, so there is sellability validators, and quality validators. So that way you can just see, will the item sell properly? And then just quality, missing. So the ones that I said that are essential to selling or would cause issues with selling. And then quality, just maybe you might want to check these. So missing main item table, POS record, price record, missing batter, missing subdepartment, bad tear link, zero price, conflict with main and alternate code, bad link in the kit table, bad link to scale text, anything or show light code with different price. This one is actually not available in SMS Pro that's available here. So tied to our light codes, if you have not updated all the items with a light code, you could do that. And then quality is just like I said, maybe you're not maintaining cost or any category, family code, classification, so that's not something you're worried about. And you can come in here and you can uncheck all of them and just check the one that you're looking for. So just so I'll just do the missing price record just so you can see how this works in eSuite. So I execute this and it will look for any items that have a missing price record. So you can then look at these. It's going to tell you if I had more than one, it will tell you all the criteria it meets. And then down here, it's a little bit hidden. Let me just pull that up. Is the edit button. I can go and edit this and fix it. So similar to pulling it up in the browser, it'll pull it up in a list format, and then I can come in and I can edit and fix it. So for that was what I wanted to get over. So did we have any questions come in, Angel?
Yeah, we had a few questions. So the first question I have is, what version of SMS do I need to be on to be able to use eSuite?
3.5 and above is eSuite. I would say that it was very early version in early 3.5, so like 3.506, 3.507. I would recommend going to the highest version of 3.5, just so that way you get all of the functionality that's available. But about 3.506 is when it came out, and then every version it's just been updating as you go.
Okay, and if you have, any questions about your SMS version, you can email us at sales@stcr.com and we can help you as well. The next question we have is, when are customer price checkers going to be able to read alternate barcodes instead of showing up as item not found, item not in system?
I know that we're working on an enhancement with the alternate codes. I can check with the programmers and see where that is at, and we can get an email update about that. You can get the information on that, Angel.
Okay, yes, I can do that. I'll reach out to you. The next question we have is, when using eSuite, is there a way to save the layout so I don't need to set my tables every time I log in?
Yes, so you can go into the layouts with eSuite up here. Sorry, I don't have the tables up here right now. But if you go into here, there is the desktop. I have to open it up. You can come down, so you would come down here and you're going to save the desktop. Like I said, I don't have a desktop up right now, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you can give it a name, and I'll just call it after myself. Save that, and then the next time you come in here, you'd have the ability to do this little drop down. I'm sorry, my screen's a little zoomed in. So you'd have the ability to click on that and pull that desktop layout up. So let me just go over that again. I'm sorry, because I kept clicking on the wrong thing. I'm a little zoomed in. I'm not sure why. So you're going to go under the little person icon so you can get everything set up that you want to have on the screen. Right here, you would go down to save desktop, give it a name, or you can update an existing one and save or delete it if you want to delete an old one that was bad because you were testing it. Save. Yep, I want to overwrite that. Then the next time that you are logging in, you don't want to go through all that, you can come in to this little drop down menu and pick the right one, and it will automatically update and show us what was on there. The one thing is, it says this is tied to your user number, so whoever is logged in, that will be saved to that. It is not one of the options. I know with the report layouts, we can do a global layout. This is not tied to that. Unfortunately, this is not, sorry, got a little tongue tied there. There's no ability to make it a global desktop. It is tied to your users. So you would have to recreate, if somebody else wants to use it, they have to recreate it and save it themselves.
Our next question is, if I have a sales batch CSV file for an item that has an alternate code, say strawberries, and only the one UPC is in the batch, Will the system know to update all the codes and for the alternate items?
So for the alternate codes, it will, if you import the CSV file in, it will update the main item table. The other items don't exist, so it just wants to update the main one with the alternate code. So there is the ability when you're importing in there, depending on how you're bringing it in, we can set that to look for. There's options for UPC, vendor code, and alternate code. It's literally 1, 2, 3. So you would just set it to look for those different ones, and then it would pull it in and it would update the main table let me go back. Sorry. This is always a little bit easier when I have it visually in front of me. But here we go. So for this item, so if you brought it in with one of these alternate codes, it will update the main item table because these don't exist as their own item record. So it would just update this one. So it would then by default update all the alternate codes. If you're talking about light codes, it should prompt you when you're importing that you'd want to update all the light codes. Because those do exist as different item records.
Okay, so our next question is, will this recording be sent to us to review later on? I can answer that question. So whatever email you registered with, a link will be sent to you tomorrow with a video. And then the video will also be available on our YouTube channel as well. And Jen, I think that might be our last question. I don't see anything else currently. I do want to let you guys know that next month we'll be hosting our Launch and Learn series on Thursday, July 27th to review host best practices and overview. Thank you all for joining today. If you have any questions at all, email us at sales@stcr.com. And I hope you all have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.